Livis, and I am the Distance Services Librarian for C.G. O'Kelly Library. And during this session, I am going to show you how to utilize some of the resources that you have accessible to you via online. But before I delve into WSSU resources, I did want to show you a couple of things that I know you use before or when you actually do your research. I know you don't necessarily start at the databases. I know you guys start somewhere else. So here's a quick question. When it's time for you to conduct research, where is the very first place you go to get information? And you guys can just type it in the chat box for me. And just be honest, if you want information about something, where do you go? Absolutely. Emily said Google. Most of you go to Google. Yes, I use Google all the time. But let me show you a smart way to use Google. I don't just want you to just randomly just search Google. There are very smart ways, or your textbook, that's good. There are smart ways to take a look at Google if you're going to use Google. So everybody can see my screen. So I'm just going to go to Google. And I want to show you something. Oh, let me move this out of the way. Hold on for me. Let's move that out of the way. All right. So normally in Google, people just take their search and they start here. I want you to take a look at two types of ways to search Google. First, we're going to do Google Advanced Search. And sometimes, depending on your computer setup, Google Advanced Search will be, there'd be a little link for you to log into it. And if they don't have it, just go ahead and type it in like I did, Google's Advanced Search. Now, I know that in a couple of days, and I don't know if it's been due yet, but I know some of you will either have a socialization paper due or had a socialization paper due. So let's just say we want to see what resources we can find just searching Google, and I'm going to show you some things here. So I'm going to do nurses and socialization. One of the nice things I like about Google Advanced Search, and we're going to scroll down here, you tell Google what site or domain you want to search. Now, when I say site or domain, I'm talking about this here, edu.gov or .org. For nursing students, I highly recommend that you take a look at .edu and .gov. EDU is for education, .gov, government. So for the sake of this search, I want to see what information I could find out there about nurses and socialization, and let's do .edu. So I'm going to do .edu. Now this is the cool thing about Google's Advanced Search. You can tell it what format. So I'm going to highlight that. Let's scroll down here. You can do PDF, PowerPoint. Let's see what nursing scholar decided to share information about nursing socialization in a PowerPoint. So I'm going to do PowerPoint. I'm going to hit Advanced Search. And let's take a look. Okay, so remember I was very specific. My topic was nurses and socialization, .edu, hence the Kent University, and I did PowerPoint. That's why all of the retrievals are in PowerPoint. Let's take a look at the first one. Okay, so it's downloaded here, and it's actually, I'm going to have to slide it over here. Okay, so here is a PowerPoint from Kent University about nursing as a discipline and a profession for socialization. So I'm just going to scroll through, see if I find any information here that's relevant or interesting. Okay, that's one. And let's take a look at another one. Introduction to Pediatric. Let's take a look at gender socialization. I am just curious. I just want to see what that looks like. Okay, gender socialization. And this is how you can actually find resources. I just wanted to see if they had anything on nursing. Sometimes you'll get some really good hits and sometimes you won't. But the thing is not to just randomly search Google. Be very specific and tell Google what you want. So that was just one way, and that was Google's advanced search. Now, if I wanted to go back and modify that, let's say I don't want PowerPoint, I just want PDF, and instead of .edu, I'm going to do .gov. Let's do advanced search, and let's see what we get. All right, so PDF, Professional Socialization in Nursing. Okay, it's dated, so this one, you can look at it for background information. You may not want to use it as a source unless it's an extra source. But here's some information here. Oh, I hate when I do that. I just got out the whole thing. Let me go back in here. Let's do Google Advanced Search. But that is a smart way, guys, to search Google. Be very specific. Tell Google what you want, site or domain, and then go ahead and just hit your search. That's an advanced search. So now I want to show you another type of a search. This is called Google Scholar. How many of you have heard of Google Scholar? I'm just curious. Has anyone ever heard of Google Scholar? Okay, not a problem. What Google Scholar is Google's version of peer-reviewed scholarly content. That's what it is. So Google has taken all of the scholarly content that individuals have shared, the content that they could get from journals who will share freely, and they have aggregated those articles and placed them into Google Scholar. So either you can just type in the search box, Google Scholar. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to do nursing socialization. I'm going to hit my search box. Now, another question. In most instances, how far back can you all go for your research? And someone just type that in the box for me. You know, through the session, I'll ask you lots of questions. Chair, absolutely right. You guys are right on point. Absolutely. You can only go back 5 years unless your professor deems otherwise. But in most instances, your professor is going to say 5 years. If you take a look over here, since you know you want to go back 5 years, let's just go ahead and change this to, let's just do 2011. Now, something I want you to take a look at. These are some articles, peer-reviewed scholarly articles that we looked through Google Scholar. And let's say you came across some of these articles that you're interested in. One of the nice things about Google Scholar, it will pick up your IPO address. So the reason why it's picking up WSSU, because I'm on campus, and it's picking up my IPO address here for WSSU. But let's say you came across an article, right? And let's say I'm interested in this article. I'm going to select it. And when I select it, one thing I want you all to please remember, while you are in this program and you come across an article that we may not subscribe to the full text, please never, ever, ever buy an article. Don't buy an article. What I would like for you to do is email me the APA citation, because as you all know, that is your citation of choice. APA, that's what social sciences uses. Email me the APA citation and I will get the article for you. Don't ever pay for an article. We have access to a lot of resources where you should never have to pay for an article. In some instances, depending on the database and the journal you use, sometimes you can get it for free. So for example, let's take a look at this article, Concept Analysis of Professional Socialization in Nursing. This is the article here. They've decided to be so kind and they put all of the references and everything online. So sometimes you can gain access to articles online through Google Scholar. Like I said, if you can't, make sure you email me the citation so I can get it for you. One other thing I need you to take a look at, and if you send me an email, I check my emails every day. Give me about 24 to 48 hours to find an article and send it to you. Or if I have to use interlibrary loan to get it, then I will let you know. But give me a couple of days, at least 24 hours to get it for you. One thing I want you to remember, when you are conducting your research, you have to be smart. That way you can save yourself some time. Guys, always take a look at the references. Sometimes articles, nursing articles, always have well-written references. And of course, the references have to they have to meet the same criteria as your other sources. But sometimes if you came across an article that had a reference that really lend itself to your research, guess what? You can use that same reference. So keep that in mind. A lot of times students don't even take the time to read the references. Let me tell you, sometimes you can cut your research down in half just by using some of the references. Okay, so those are the two things I wanted to show you for Google. Actually, there are three, but those pertain to the research. So we did Google's advanced search. You tell Google what you want to search and how you want to search it. And I think you really will find Google Scholar to be very useful. One other thing I want to point out for Google Scholar, it does tell you how many times an article has been cited. And that's good to know. So if you're conducting your research and let's say you wanted to use this article, you could just take a look. Hey, this has been cited 16 times. That's not bad. This might be a really good article. And then also, if you come across an article and, oh, this one has only been cited one time, that does not mean it's not a well-written article and it doesn't have any pertinent data. It means that people who read it just did not take the time to use it and to cite it. So don't let this number, don't negate using articles that have low cited numbers. Just make sure, that it lends itself to your research. So we looked at Google Scholar and we looked at Google's advanced search. So now I want to share with you, so any questions so far? So I see Anita has lost sound. Anita, maybe try to log back in and see, Anitra, if you can get your sound back. Now, does anyone else have any questions? Any questions before I move on? I'll be checking periodically. All right. So now with that being said, I'm going to really need your participation in the next one. I know that you're going to, since some of you are all online, you're going to have to work on some scholarly projects and some group projects together. Another thing I want to show you with not GoToMeeting, that's what we're using for the session, but another thing I want to show you with Google is Google Drive. Google Drive is Google versions pretty much what we're doing now with GoToMeeting, but Google is free. So that's the plus. Google is free. Let's say you have to work on a group project. Instead of someone creating the document and then emailing it to everyone so everyone could add their content, I recommend that you start a rough draft, create your document in Google Drive. Once you've done everything in Google Drive, then you can go ahead, upload it into Word or whatever program you want to use, add all of your in-text citations, and then you are good. But to start off, start in Google Drive. And let me show you why. I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Let me see if I can log into my Google Drive. Okay, let's do this one. And as you see, I have several accounts because I use Google a lot. One thing I like about Google Drive works just like Word. So if you come here, you see how you have Google Docs, that's a Word document. Google Sheets is equivalent to Microsoft Excel. Google Slides is equivalent to Microsoft PowerPoint. And you can save and download Google Slides and put it in the Word document, and you can download it as well. If you take a look, I just wanted you to see they have some really cool templates in Google Slides. So I wanted to show you that. So I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to go to Google Docs. Let's say I am the project manager, and I have 4 of you in my group, and we're working on a group research paper. So I'm going to start the project. Since I'm the group manager, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the paper, and then I'm going to get you guys, everyone else, to chime in. So what I'm going to do is put in the context. I'm going to email you all a link. It's a shareable link, and then that shareable link will allow you to upload content, and we could be basically working on the paper at the same time. So let me just show you some things in Google Drive. All right, so this is group 5, and I'm going to say research project. One thing, I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to go ahead and give myself a title. This is group 5. And let's see, socialization. I'm going to say, okay, group 5 research socialization project. And you see it works just like Word. Okay, and now I'm just going to go and get some content. I am one who I don't like to do a lot of typing, so I'm just going to go find some content. So just bear with me here. I just want some content. All right, let's go back here. So I'm going to add my content. Okay, so one thing to remember, like I said, it works just like Word. You can come here. I'm going to change my text to Times New Roman. And the reason why I'm going to change it to Times New Roman, because you know when you are, when you're doing your paper, you know that your APA is in Times New Roman. So I'm going to do Times New Roman. That is it. So I have that there. And so I have my Times New Roman. So I'm good to go there. All right, so I'm going to just make some little changes. So now I am done with my paper. I have made the changes I'm going to make. Now I'm at a point where I want to share this with the other group members. So I'm going to come here. Okay, so now I see, can anyone, everybody hear me? Or because I see we still have some people who are having problems with audio. So let me just do a quick audio check. How many of you all can hear me? Okay, so you all, okay. So guys, maybe those who having an audio check, go ahead, I'll turn my volume up. Go ahead and log off, okay, and log back on. All right, so now my other quick question, how many of you have Google accounts? How many of you already have a Gmail account or a Google account? Okay, wonderful. Good. Because for those who have a Google account, I'm going to get you to participate in my little study, so my little action here, so we can see how this works. So now I've done my group project, right? I started it, so I'm going to come to share. Now I need to share it with my group members. I recommend that you get a shareable link here. Get this link, and then you can email this link to your group members. But before you email, make sure you come here and say they can edit. Make sure you come here and say, not can view, can comment, because they won't be able to make any additions. Can view, they really won't be able to do anything. So I'm going to say can edit. So yes, they can edit. So this is my link. And make sure you have can edit. I need you all to be able to edit. All right, so I'm going to come here. Now I'm going to put my shareable link in the chat box. You can edit. So for those of you who have Google, go ahead, click on that link. And as you can see, for those, and I want you to make changes to the document. Go ahead, highlight it, change the color for me. So while you do that, you see we can have revisions in real time. Isn't this cool? So literally, you can be working on a paper at the same time. And look, everything changes in real time. All of the changes you all are making, Google is tracking those changes. Yes, so and I'm going to go ahead and see somebody there, and I'm going to put Melinda. Isn't that cool? So when you have to work on a group project, please consider using Google Docs to go ahead and get your rough draft in, use it, and then when you're done, upload it, everything to Word and turn it in. This is the best way to help calm your nerves with a group project. All right, so consider using Google Drive when you have to do group projects. And now you're done. You just go ahead and save it, and it saves in real time. So group 5 socialization. So we're done. And anytime you want to edit, just come in and log in and edit. And make sure that you select Can Edit Link. You can email everybody the email addresses, but that's cumbersome. Just go ahead and get the shareable link, and then make sure you have Can Edit like we just did, and then you're good to go. So I wanted to show you all that. Thank you all for participating so you could see how it works. And then I'm going to just close out of that, and I'm going to show you what it looks like here. If we get to group 5, it's somewhere, here it is. See, this is the paper. And if you want to create a folder, come here, create a folder, and you're done. Also, what I really want you all to consider, as you matriculate through the program and you start doing your research, I know most of you, I'm going to make an assumption, most of you may save your work on a flash drive. That's okay, but what happens if you lose the flash drive? Then you're in trouble. So think about using Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox as a backup to all of your research. That way, if something happens, you always have a backup to your research. All right, so keep that in mind. Okay, so that was the demonstration for Google. So now let's get to the databases. Thank you all for participating. I really appreciate that because I like for you all to see how that works. All right, so now I'm going to get to the databases, and I'm going to go to Blackboard. And the reason why I'm coming to Blackboard is because I'm embedded into all of your sections here. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to go to WD. I'm going to select here. So once you get to your Blackboard shell, and let me turn the editing off. Once you get to your Blackboard shell, if you come over to the left and it says Librarian's Corner, all you have to do is select that link here. And this is where you can get to. It's kind of like one-stop shopping for your research. So I'm going to select that, and this is the research guide. These databases on this research guide are germane to nursing and to pathophysiology. Also, I want you to take a look at this. Here, you will see I do have some selected pathophysiology ebooks that you can use. So don't forget to take a look at that site. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at a couple of the databases. Sonal is one of my favorites. So let's take a look at Sonal. Sonal, guys, is an EBSCOhost database, and each database is different. I'm going to show you another one as well. But one thing I like about EBSCOhost is that if you come to choose databases, you can actually highlight other databases to search simultaneously. So since we're here, let's go to Health Business Elite. I'm going to select that. And if you take your mouse and scroll over the little comment box, as you can see, the abstract or synopsis for that database will pop up. And that way you can see what type of content you can get out of that database. Nursing students always forget about psych articles, but make sure you select psych articles. They have really good content in psych articles and psych info. These databases share a lot of information about behaviors. So if you want that type of research, these are good databases to select. Let's come over here to Health Source Elite. Let's make sure you do these two as well. Okay, and you take a look, you can see what they have, and you might be interested in some others. So we're going to go with those, and Sonal is already defaulted because that's the one I highlighted. Now, for those who keep losing sound, don't worry because I am recording this session. So when I'm done, I will render it and email it to you for those who keep losing sound. So you're not totally missing everything. All right, so I'm going to hit OK. Now we get to this page. I recommend that you come here and do an advanced search because you can get more searching parameters. This makes it more easier. Now, before we get to a topic, two things I always want you to remember. Do full text and peer-reviewed. Peer-reviewed means the articles have been vetted to meet academic standards. So when your professor says, I want scholarly peer-reviewed content, go ahead and check the box. That way you know when you get your retrievals, it will be peer-reviewed. So keep that in mind. Scholarly peer-reviewed means that these articles have been vetted. So now what I'd like for someone to do, what is another topic that I know we have nursing, I know we had nursing socialization for those who are in dynamics. So, but for patho, what are you all working on? What could we possibly search? Someone give me an idea. What kind of research you have to do so far in patho? Any suggestions? Okay, no suggestions. Okay, sickle cell anemia. Okay, that's a good one. All right, so let me show you something here. So we're going to do sickle cell. And I want you to see how, you see if you start typing, it does a smart search. So let's do sickle cell anemia. All right, so we just typed in sickle cell anemia. And let's say we wanted to do sickle cell anemia in women. And you see how you can, and hopefully that will shrink, and it did. Now, one thing I want you to remember, we already did full text peer review. If you come over here, and let me just scroll down here. Of course, you don't want articles from 1986. So let's just type in 2011, hit enter, and 42 should update, and good, and we're down to 15. So now let's say you see some of these articles, and let's say I'm interested in this article. If you scroll your mouse over the magnifying glass, you see the abstract will pop up, and then you could decide whether or not you want this article. So I'm going to add this one to my folder. So I come over here to the blue box, the blue button, hit the plus sign. Let's say I'm interested in this one as well. I want this article. Now we know they meet the yearly requirements because we know we did 2011, and this one is 2012. I'm going to add this one to the folder, and you see when you add it to the folder, it turns yellow. And let's say I am interested. Let's find one more. Let's try this one. I'm going to add this one to my folder. So as you see, we have 1, 2, 3 articles in our folder, right? So let's say for this particular search, I am done. I am totally done. I'm ready to take a look at my resources. You can come all the way up here to the folder button, or you can come over here because now we want to retrieve our articles. So I'm going to hit folder view. And these are the articles that I have added to my folder. So I want to email these articles to myself, or I want to save them so I can take a look at them later. So you hit the select button, and let's say we want to email them this time. So I'm going to hit email. And email from is already done for you. Email to, I would recommend that you use your Winston-Salem State email. The reason being, you're going to get a persistent link. And when you get a persistent link to access your article, a proxy from WSSU is already built in. If you use another email address, the link may not work. And I will show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my email address. You can put in comments if you want to. Leave the format at the default for rich text. Let's come over here. This is the part students absolutely love. A citation is going to be, of course, APA. So I'm going to select APA. And I'm going to hit send. So you will get an email confirmation. So those articles have been sent to my email. So now let me show you what that looks like. So I'm actually going to come here, and we should see confirmations popping up in a moment. I'm going to hit print. I'm going to come here for APA, and let's hit print. And let me show you, let's cancel what that looks like. So when you get your email, okay, these are your articles. These are the persistent links I was referring to. And see here they come one by one. Let's just close out of them. These are the persistent links. So a lot of times, this is what students will do when they get their articles, right? So you got your citations, because remember, we asked it to put it in APA citations. A lot of times students would do this. They would just highlight, cut and paste. I'm going to do a Control-C, open a Word document, and I'm going to slide the Word document over, and I'm just going to, boom, put my references there. Just so you know, this, if you follow this as it is totally wrong. The formatting is not right. Everything about this is wrong. If you decide that you want to use the citation tool from the databases, make sure you go back and clean it up. And I'm going to walk you through that. So a couple of things I want you to remember for APA, and I'm going to show you some resources that I have on the research guide so you can actually remember where they are. Number one, anything with APA, it has to be Times New Roman, 12-point font. It has to be double spaced, and your page has to be 1-inch margin, top, bottom, left, right. So let's go ahead and clean this up. All right, so first of all, let's make sure that this is Times New Roman. See, look at the font. The font is Helvetica 9. That's totally not right. Remember, the publishers don't care about the font, the size. They don't care about that. They just want to format it. And even with that, sometimes it's still not right. So this is Times New Roman. References is not bold. It's plain text. And references is centered. Now, another thing to remember, your whole page is double spaced. APA, and I'm going to show you an example of what an APA research paper looks like. APA is double spaced. Everything is double spaced. So I'm going to select here. I'm going to go to double space. All right, this is still tiny, so let's make sure Times New Roman 12-point font. All right, so we're almost there. Another thing to remember, you have to have it at 1-inch margin, top, bottom, left, right. If you are using Microsoft Word, all you have to do is come up to page layout, hit margins, and normal is 1-inch, top, bottom, left, right. I'm not sure, for those of you who use Macs, I'm not quite sure where to go with Macs, but I know they have formatting where you can adjust your margins. I'm not sure where that is. But I do know for PC, all you have to do is, like I said, you come to margins, and it's already at your 1-inch margin for normal. So we're almost done. We're almost done. Another thing to remember for APA is always going to be last name, first initial, last name, first initial. And your references have to be alphabetized. So let's take this, Mr. Gomez. Let's move Gomez up here. Okay, so let's move Gomez up. So if we take a look at some of these, so this is almost ready to go. Now, the other problem I have, there are no capitalizations in the citation like this unless it is an acronym. So you see this is totally wrong. So you would have to go through and make sure you took off the capitalizations. And you know what? All of these, this one also has capitalizations. That is not right. So you would have to go in and make sure that you made those regular letters. They all should not be capitalized. So then outside of that, this citation, you have to do that for this one. This citation references are pretty much done. One other thing I want you to take a look at. You see at the end here, you see this little funky number, the DOI. DOI stands for Digital Object Identifier. And what that means, if I took this funky number right here, I cut and pasted and put it in a browser, the article or the abstract should pop up. So let's see if that, let's test that theory. Let me get to a browser here. Okay, let me move this around. And let's see, I'm going to cut and paste this and see if that's going to work. Sometimes the DOIs work and sometimes they don't. And yep, here it is. So if you come across an article, right, and it has the DOI at the end, leave it. It is part of the article. Another thing to remember, never ever put a period at the end of the DOI. There are no periods. They got that part right. At the end of a DOI is just nothing. Just the last number, that is it. So if you decide to use a citations tool, make sure you go back and clean it up. You got to double check it. Now that was just one database. Let me quickly show you another database that also gives you the option to put your articles in the citation for you. So this was EBSCO. So I'm going to show you another one of my favorite databases. I'm going to close out of that. And we are going to take a look at ProQuest. And one other thing I need you to take a look at, and I'm going to slide this right on in. When you log in to any of our resources, you will get to the proxy. And remember, your username is your email address minus the @rams.edu.web.wssu. And your password, guys, is your banner ID number. Now, make sure you keep that banner ID number close to you. Don't share that number with anyone. Your banner ID number is like your social security number for WSSU. It's your number. Don't share it unless a professor may say, put your banner ID number on the paper. Outside of that, that is your number, so don't share it. But username, your email address, and password is your banner number. So I didn't want to show you that. All right, so let's quickly get to ProQuest. Where's my ProQuest? ProQuest Nursing and Allied Health. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to have to, I'm glad I did that because I'm going to have to fix the link on your research guide here. So let me show you another way to get to ProQuest because for whatever reason, yeah, I have to go back in. So let me make a quick note to myself, guys, that I need to make sure I fix that link because something is going on with that ProQuest link. Okay, so I'm going to show you another way to access the resources from the WSSU's website. But when you're in Blackboard, go ahead and access the site from here because it's just so much more easier. But let me get to another way. So let's say if you're just want to get to the website and you're not in Blackboard, what you do, you come to WSSU, you come to Quick Links, scroll down until you get to C.G. O'Kelly Library, select C.G. O'Kelly Library, then this is our main page. We're going to come here to databases. So I'm going to select the link to databases. And as you see, we have an alphabetical list of all the databases. We want ProQuest Nursing and Allied Health. So I'm going to select P. I'm going to scroll down and I want to select ProQuest. Where is it? ProQuest. So here is the database. Now, when you get ready to connect to the database from this angle, make sure you always hit this connect button. You won't have to do this in the LibGuide, but since I need to fix that link, this is another way to get to it. So I'm going to hit connect. And since I'm already on campus, I don't have to put in the proxy, but you will when you do it at home. So this is the interface for ProQuest. So I'm going to do full text, remember, peer-reviewed, and I want to do scholarly as well. Scholarly art journals are mostly written by your clinicians and your research practitioners. So if you get the opportunity to select scholarly journals, please do so. They are awesome resources for research. All right, so let's take a look. So what would be another hot topic for pathophysiology? What else are you guys working on? Someone tell me another hot topic. What else could research? I want to do something different. Okay, so someone says HIV. All right, so we'll do HIV. All right, and you see how this database they also want to tell you how to be very spiffy and give you suggestions. So I'm just going to do HIV. One thing I want you to take a look at. Let's scroll down. For this database, make sure you go ahead and just scroll all the way over and update. You don't want to spend your time looking at information that's not going to be relevant to you. Okay, so we have HIV. So I see some articles. Now let's say I'm interested in this article. So if you take your little preview button, you see the abstract will pop up. And if you want this article, you just hit the little checkbox there. And let's say I'm interested in this article. Let's preview it. There it is. I'm interested in this one, and I want to do this one. So once you have added content, you've checked the boxes, all you have to do is come up, and then you want to email these articles to yourself, and it's the same process. Now, this will be the first time you all will actually have done this, so make sure to get APA 6th edition. You have to check the bibliography box, and then that way you can go through and make sure you select the right citation style for APA. And it's the APA 6th edition, so I'm going to hit there and put in your email address. Okay, and then you can put in your name, everything else, and you can do a message, and you hit continue, and then here you get your email confirmation, and those are going to pop up. So that's another way. But now let me show you what those citations look like. So I'm going to come here to cite, and this is why I said, guys, you have to check. Now you see, I love the way ProQuest does their citations because they already put them in alphabetical order. However, you see that this is not Times New Roman. I could promise you it's not Times New Roman. So I'm going to cut and paste it. Let's go to Word. And let's delete these. And I just want to see what font they are. Look at this. They're Calibri 11 point. So, of course, and here comes my request. Of course, you would have to go through and you would have to clean it up and change it. So those are some of the nice tools about using the databases. They will cite it for you. But guys, please go back, double check, and make sure the citations are right. So now I'm going to close out of this. Any questions so far about what I showed you? Because now I want to show you some resources that you can use that will help you with your citing. Okay, so I don't see any questions in the chat box. So let me close this. And let me get back to the research guide. All right. And let's go ahead and get to the APA Citation Center. This is going to be a lifeline for you. Here, I have an example of an APA sample paper. So let's take a look at that. A couple of things I want to point out to you. Hopefully, if it will load, here it comes. All right. A couple of things you have to remember for the APA paper. You have to have a running head, and you have to have the word running head on the first page. The running head basically is a short title it's a shorter version of your title. But if you have a short title, like Varying Definitions of Online Communication, that title is relatively short. You're going to see it on all of your pages. So one thing to keep in mind, you have the running head on the first page. Subsequent pages, you just have the title. No words running head. Another thing I want you to pay attention to, page numbers. Don't be creative and put your page numbers at the bottom left, in the middle, on the right. APA is very specific. Page numbers top right. And if you go through, you will see page numbers top right. Okay, page numbers top right. I am scrolling down because I want you to take a look at the reference. Remember how we had to cut and paste and put those references in the Word document to line them up? This is what your reference page should look like. Alphabetized by the last name of the researcher, and chances are the first name in your citation, these individuals are probably your primary researchers. So one thing to remember, never juxtapose these names. So let's say if you want Butler to be first, no. Cummings is the primary researcher. That's why his name is first. So you alphabetize your reference list according to the last name in all of the citations. So I forgot to say that earlier. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Alphabetized by the first name in the citation. Now, one thing to remember, when you are working on when you write a well-written research paper, you have to use in-text citations. There's no way of getting around that. You have to use in-text citations. And if you take a look at this paper has really good examples of in-text citations. So I do want to point out a couple of things for you. And then also, before I go, let me just see if I put this in your research guide. Give me one quick second. Let's get here. I want to see if I put this in here. And if I didn't, I am going to, let's get back to your guide here. If I didn't, I'm going to add it. Let me see here. No, I didn't. I need to add something there because I want to show you a very short video of something that will help you with your citations. Okay, so this is an example. Like I said, in this paper, they are excellent examples of in-text citations. So I want to show you something, and then we will come back to this because I think you'll understand it a little better. So I'm going to come here, and let's get to here. I want us to take a look at this APA Prezi presentation, and this presentation has examples of what your in-text citations should look like when you have multiple authors. So let's just let it load, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. All right, so I'm going to scroll through really fast because I want you to see what I'm referring to with the in-text citations. I do have a grid that will help you when you get to in-text citations, and here it is. All right, so one thing to remember when you take a look at your in-text citations, let's say you have an author and you just have one author. Your one author in your in-text citation, remember last name and the year. And then in your reference list, it's going to be the last name and the year. So then when you get to two authors, in your in-text citation, it's going to be both of the author's last name and the year. And in your reference list, it's the same thing. So for the first in-text citation with one author, it's the name all the way through. So let's say you use this 5 times. It's going to be 5 times you're going to have in your in-text citation. You're referencing this citation 5 times. You're going to have the last name and the year. 2 authors, the same thing. Both of those authors, first citation, both names. Subsequent citations, the same thing. Both of their names. When you get to 3 to 5 authors, this is where it gets a little tricky. But if you follow this guide, I think this will help you. So let's say you have 3 authors and you found an article that has 3 authors and you want to use in-text citation. The first citation, you will list all 3 names, and it's the same. It's from 3 to 5 authors. So let's say you have 4. Here we have 3. So let's say you list all their names in the first citation: Hughes, Breston, and Val. In subsequent citations, let's say you're referring to this citation, this article in your paper 4 times. So in the other 3 citations, you only have the last name, Hughes, et al., and the year. You do not have to list all of the names for the next 3 citations, right? For the next 3 sightings in your paper. And in your reference list, you list all authors. So if we had 5, you would have all 5 authors. That's why it says here from 3 to 5. So remember, in-text citation, first citation, all 3. Subsequent citation, that's when you have the Hughes et al. Okay, so now let's get to the next one. So 6 or 7 authors. When you have 6 or 7 authors, in your in-text citation, you do not list all of the authors. If it's 6 or more, 6 or 7 authors, in the first citation, you list the last name, which is probably, you list that first name, he's probably the primary researcher. So you have Phelps et al. Subsequent citation, the exact same thing, Phelps et al. And then in your reference list, you list their authors. You list all of the authors. So you list always last name, first initial, all the way through to 7 authors. Now, this is where it gets tricky again. Let's say you came across an article and it had 20 authors. I don't want you not to use it because it has too many authors. You just got to know how to cite it. And this will help you with the citing. So let's say this is 20 or more authors. I know it says 8, but let's say it's 20. So in your in-text citation, you only list the primary researchers, which is Carter et al. Subsequent citations, Carter et al. Now, in your reference list on your reference page, excuse me, I know you got 20 authors, right? APA only wants to see 7 names. So this is how that works. You list the first 6 authors. So these are the first 6 authors: Carter, Daughtry, Addington, Stanley, Schoeffer. Those are the first 6. For the very last author, this is number 20. You follow it, you have an ellipsis before, and then you have the very last author name. That's how that works for APA. So I designed this little guide, excuse me, to help you with citing when you have in-text citation for more than one author. And remember, APA only wants to see 7 names. They don't want to see all those names. So if you got an article, you found this great article, it's got 20 authors, that's okay. You can use it to cite it. Only list 7 of the names. You do the first 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you have number 20. This is the last author. So that's how this will help you with citing your authors if you have for your in-text citation. So now I showed you that. Let's take a look at, I want to go back here. All right, so remember, and I keep that in your mental Rolodex, right? So here is an example. That's why I said this is a perfect example of the in-text citation. You see here, this is the first citation, Cummings, Butler, and Kraut. That is the first time we have that. So now let's scroll down. Let's keep on scrolling. Well, actually, that was in the abstract. So here we have Cummings, Butler, and Kraut, right? In the main paper. You have those 3 times. Now remember, that's 3 authors. So in subsequent citings, remember 3 or more, 3 to 5, in subsequent citings, that's when you get the et al. So I think that this presentation will help you figure that out, and then take a look at the OWL, because this gives you an example. This is a perfect example of what in-text citations should look like. So I definitely wanted you to see that. And also, if we come back here in the Blackboard shell, let me go back to Librarian's Corner. If we come back to the shell, and you come here to APA Citation Center, we have little videos. And these little videos actually will walk you through how to use some of the resources. And this is an example if you want to use hanging indentions. And the videos are very short, and they really did a good job with these videos. And we have several videos that will show you. Oops, that will show you, where to put a hanging indention and where to put some of those things. So we do have those videos in there. And like I said, they're nicely done. So let me close this. Okay, and don't forget, like I said, to take a look at, we saw the citation presentation, so we took a look at that, and we have some more examples. Now, I did want to show you something because, and if you want a tool to help you with citing, I have been experimenting with Perla. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Perla. I'm going to put this actually in, I'm going to put this in your LibGuide here, research guide, so you can look at it if it's something you want. Perla is a tool that will help you with citing. So let me do this right quick. I know, let me get to a place where I know I have the video, and I want you to take a look at the video. It's only about 2.5 minutes. It's relatively short. And what I will do, I will make sure I put this link into your session so you guys can look at it whenever you get a chance. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. Hopefully you can hear the sound. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to put this link into your LibGuide, and when you get a chance, please look at it, because this is, and I don't know why you can't hear it, but this is a demonstration of a tool that's called Perla. And Perla will walk you through and help you to cite. So some heard, some didn't, but I'm going to put it, before I leave, I'm going to make sure I put it in your LibGuide so you can see it. Here's the deal. Now, Perla is $39.95. I am not working for Perla. I don't get anything for talking about this, but I have used it, and it is an excellent tool to help you to cite. Some professors like it, some don't, but this is why I think it's a really good tool. First of all, it walks you through and prompts you and tells you what data you need to put in a certain space to cite. And that is perfect, because as you go through and use it, you're really learning how to cite and what you need to cite. I do recommend just try it for fun, and you can download Perla for free, and you get to do one research paper using Perla. So just give it a go. Let it walk you through, and then you can actually try to format one research paper. And if you don't like it, it's okay, because you got one good paper out of it. So like I said, I'm going to put this in your LibGuide so you can see the video for it. But it is a really good tool, and students have liked it, and they've used it. And one thing, once if you decide to purchase it, you can download it to like 3 other devices. So, and the website, and like I said, I'm going to put this into your LibGuide. I'm going to put it in there. And see, it is free. No credit card required. You can at least download one. You can download it, and you can get one good paper out of it. So like I said, take a look at it. It walks you through with citing. It automatically does a running head for you. It does all of that. So it kind of like takes the stress out of citing. All right, so I'm just about done. Any questions? Yes. It is definitely the 6th edition. Yes. One thing about Perla, they're really good, and they make sure they update all of their content. So let's say APA decides tomorrow, or let's say on Friday, they have rolled out a new part of the 6th edition, or they rolled out the 7th edition. If you buy the Perla, it automatically updates it to the correct edition, which is really cool. But yes, it is definitely the 6th edition. So I did want to show you those things. I am going to add that link into, and this is where it's going to be in your research guide. I'm going to make sure, not this one. Let me go back to your shell. I'm going to make sure I put that Perla video into all of the shells so you guys can have a look at it. And it's going to be, if you come under Librarian's Corner, it's going to be here under Blackboard APA. I'm going to put that link right in here for the other resources. Okay. So let me get to the questions here. Regarding the running head and page number, what happens if your title is too long and it misplaces? Okay, well, this is what you do. See, this is why you have the running head. This is why you have the running head. So hold on, Emily. Let me get Charlene right quick, and then I'm going to come to your question. So the purpose of the running head, Charlene, is to shorten your title. So let's say you have your title, Nursing Research for the Globalization for the 21st Century in the United States. Okay, you're going to have that full title on your title page. However, your running head is going to be Nursing Socialization for the 21st Century. That's it. That's why you have a running head. Your running head is shorter than your title, so it does not cover your page number. So that's what happens. That's why the running head is a shorter version of your title. So now let's see, Emily. You mentioned a proxy when using the line. What is the proxy? Well, the proxy is what I was referring to. It's a proxy that's built in to our persistent links when you actually take an article and email it to the databases. So you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about the proxy. However, if you don't use WSSU email, then it's a chances are your email, that persistent link, won't open. So that's why that proxy is actually connects WSSU content, and once you're already online, WSSU knows, hey, she's really a student, because your credentials help you to sign into the proxy. I just don't want you, when you get to the part when you're actually doing your research, and I'm going to show you right quick, when you're doing your research and you get to an article, right? You find an article that you really like, and here it is. You actually email it to yourself, and then you can't open it because you didn't use WSSU email. So this is what I mean. When you put in your credentials and you email the article to your email, the proxy is already built into these persistent links. So if you were to use another email, these links wouldn't open. It's kind of like the permalink wouldn't open. So now, guys, are there any other questions? If not, please be so kind. If you have any questions, email me. If you would, be so kind and complete this quick assessment for me. Give me some ideas of what you think I could add, some things that maybe you wanted some more information on. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Email me. That is the best way to get a hold of me. And my email is actually on the main page here. And you all can email me. Just email me. I check my emails constantly. Remember, don't ever pay for an article. Please don't do that. Just send me your APA citation. So, guys, that's pretty much all I have. Any other questions from you? I hope this was helpful. Try Google Docs. Give that a go when it's time for you to do those group projects. Use Google Docs. It'll save you some time. But that's all I have. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. All right. Let's see. Oh no, Angela, then you're fine. You're fine. Thank you so much. You're good to go. Thank you, guys. Good night. Okay, let me close out of this. Oh, I need to put Perla.